baseball in the Worcester area has suddenly taken on a Milford flair. Milford legend JP Pyne has been managing the Futures League Bravehearts since 2016, and this past summer a second Milford native was brought into the coaching ranks in current Scarlet Hawks baseball head coach Alex Dion.
That connection's actually pretty cool. It's obviously a Milford connection. So I met JP Pyne through Mike Reed and Rich Pierre-Gustavo, who obviously Richie hired me here at the high school 7 years ago. And then we sort of just started to talk, me and JP, through like the off season the year prior, and I went up and saw one of their early games in the spring of 2017. We just sort of talked throughout that summer, and then he called me about a year ago this month, and we had a long phone conversation, and JP ended up hiring me as his hitting coach. So the Milford connection is pretty unique, and it's been obviously it's another benefit of working here.
Having the opportunity to work alongside a baseball mind like JP Pyne was an invaluable learning experience for the Milford baseball head coach.
For anyone who doesn't know JP, I know most people in Milford probably do, but he's just a tremendous baseball mind and a guy who really cares about his coaches and his players. And I think just to be able to sit in the office with him and stand next to him in the dugout for 56 games last summer was an unbelievable opportunity for me, and something that I'll never forget, and I'm very grateful for.
With Coach Pyne now moving on to take over the baseball program at Amherst College, Coach Dion quickly became the choice to fill the managerial void for the Bravehearts.
JP got hired as the head coach at Amherst, kind of like right at the end of the season for the Bravehearts. So I knew that was, I knew he was going to be moving on, and JP and I had conversations throughout the summer too about my interest in managing in the Futures League. So, he knew my thoughts on it as soon as the season was done. And, our general manager, Dave Peterson, and the Creedon family kind of knew that JP was going to be moving on. I expressed interest to them in the position. And then, we sort of started that process, and they had me in to interview, and here we are.
With his new role as manager made official, Coach Dion must now turn his attention toward building the 2019 roster, which will feature college-aged players from not only the Massachusetts area, but across the nation.
It's all over the country, so we're obviously competing with other summer collegiate teams, and we got a couple really good ones up here in New England between the Cape Cod Baseball League and the NECBL. But we've had guys, last year we had a couple kids from California, from St. Mary's and from Chapman out there. We have good relationships with St. Leo's. We've had kids from Rollins the past couple of years. We had a few kids from Stetson down in Florida, and then we get a lot of local kids too. So we kind of prioritize getting kids who were born and raised in Central Mass or play at local colleges. So we have guys from Assumption every year. We'll get a guy from BC, from UConn. We have a Stonehill kid this year who played at Milford High School for the past 4 years, so that's going to be exciting for me. Basically, right when the season ended, we start reaching out to the players on our team who are eligible to come back, and try to sign those guys as early as possible. And then it's really just reaching out to to as many college coaches as possible, and kind of doing our homework on guys. So we're actually pretty far into that process right now. We'll leave some spots open for pitchers who will kind of fill in our arms sort of as the spring goes on, where we see what guys' roles are with their college teams. But our position players are pretty much all wrapped up at this point. We have 14 of them who are committed to playing for us next summer, and we can roster 35. So like I said, we'll leave some of those slots open for arms that we'll get in March and April.
Aside from the recruiting process, I asked Coach Dion what some of the major differences are between coaching kids at the high school level and managing the young men of the Futures League.
It's still baseball, but it's very, very different. I think in both situations I have a great opportunity to be able to positively impact young adults. And obviously here at the high school, there's a lot more coaching involved in the springtime, and getting guys who aren't as far along in their careers and who maybe don't understand what they can and cannot do. It's really teaching them and helping them grow and learn the game. And you're also playing for you're playing for your town and for your high school. And I think that's one of the best things about coaching high school baseball. When you go to the summer ball, and now I'm coaching a much different caliber player, and guys who are much further along in their careers and who understand themselves as players who just came off of a spring season playing either 60, 50, or 40 games, who all have aspirations to play at the professional level, and we're playing 56 games in 2 months. So for me in the summer and a lot of what I learned from JP is it's more about managing the relationship side of things and managing your pitching staff and figuring out when to give a guy a day off if he's played 15 in a row, and making sure guys are excited to come to the ballpark every day, where there's a little less emphasis on the coaching side of things.
Scarlet Hawks fans have no reason to fear. Coach Dion will continue to lead the Milford High School baseball program in the spring. Once the high school season ends, Coach Dion looks forward to keeping the Milford tradition alive and well, just 24 miles west in the city of Worcester.
It's a great opportunity. I'm definitely lucky to be able to manage with what I think is the best organization in the Futures League, from top to bottom, the owners, the general manager, the front office. It's just and we talked just before on camera, but having Anthony Mazzini there all summer, it's a great organization, and they do things. They just do things the right way. So for 5 years, they've given themselves an opportunity to win the championship every single year, and that's all I'm going to try to do is come in there and live up to that same standard that they've set.
This is Milford TV News and Sports Director Tim Coet. Make sure you check out new editions of the Milford Informer every Friday at 7:30 p.m. or during one of our 8 convenient re-air times throughout the weekend. You can also find individual news stories as well as full archived editions on our YouTube page, My Milford TV. If you live in the greater Milford area and have an idea for a news story, you can tweet at us using the handle @Milford_TV, or you can contact me directly by sending an email to news@milfordtv.net.